FTP is just a very old school way of transferring files. It's called File Transfer Protocol. I don't really know of any other provider, any other platform that supports FTP to upload sermons. And that's a little surprising. That's significant in my mind because I don't know how other platforms would therefore allow one to upload sermons in batch. So if you have a library of sermons, let's say a few hundred sermons or even a few thousand sermons, and you want to be able to bring them all onto a platform, there is no convenient way to do that with the various platforms that I'm aware of, like even YouTube or Facebook, or hosting it yourself. This is somewhat important to us because we want churches to have the flexibility and the freedom to upload all of their library to us. SermonAudio is distinct from any other social platform because social platforms to us are more about the feed, and it's more about the here and the now, and it's very transient in nature. Things roll on and roll off the screen very quickly. But SermonAudio has a more of a library mentality where we want all of your sermons, and we want to be able to search through them or have the users have access to all of your sermons and be able to present them in various categories, like by speaker or by sermon series. And so that's what makes us distinct from other social platforms for sure. And even something like YouTube, which is similar to us in the sense that it's a library, YouTube is not really obviously geared towards sermons. So you don't have the concept of a Bible reference or a speaker. And so SermonAudio really works hard to cater ourselves to churches. We allow for multiple sermons to be uploaded at once, which is what the FTP is all about. I thought I would go through a quick demonstration of how to upload sermons via FTP. One more thing I'll mention is that why this might be important for some of you, even if you don't care about uploading multiple sermons, is that FTP often is a more reliable way, a more robust way of uploading very large files. So if you have a video that's just stubbornly not able to upload with the web interface for whatever reason, FTP usually will get the job done. And so it's not just great for batch uploads. It's great for videos, large files that you're having a hard time uploading some other way. So let's just go ahead and run through this. In order to activate FTP, because it needs to be activated, you want to go into the account section here, and you want to click on connections. This is where you connect to all things platforms outside of SermonAudio. So you have things like the social media connections. So you have the social media platforms here, you got YouTube, and this is for cross-publish primarily, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You have to establish a connection, or in technical terms, you have to authenticate yourself with those platforms to allow SermonAudio to post things on your behalf. So that's what the connection section is all about. And this is the social media section there. Down below, you have the external media upload, and this is the new area of the site that allows you to connect to some of the storage options for uploading. And the first one we have here is FTP batch. And this is connecting to our server. This is our own FTP server. And the reason why we like using FTP, as opposed to something like Dropbox, which is another way we allow for churches to upload sermons outside of the web browser in batch or large files. So that works very well too. But the reason why I personally like FTP is because it doesn't require you to sign up to any kind of a service. So Dropbox, you have to have a Dropbox account, and although it's free, you have to sign up for an account. Whereas FTP, you don't sign up for anything. You just use the FTP protocol itself, and you can use any FTP client, and there's plenty out there. And if you use Windows, you don't even have to use a client. You can do it straight in Windows Explorer itself. So FTP has some advantages that way. If you click on connect, that's the first step. And what we have here is the credentials to log into FTP. Very, very straightforward. The server that you use is called FTP ftp.sermonaudio.com. Simple, right? The username and password, SermonAudio. So no problem there. So let's go ahead and give this a try. Something called FileZilla. All right. My window explorer over here. So this is just my computer, my file system. And I have some test files here, and I have FileZilla here. So that's the lay of the land so you can understand what's happening. And I'm going to type in ftp.sermonaudio.com, just like what we saw here. Username and password, SermonAudio. So let me go ahead and do that. Connect. So we're connected. And we have to have a way of identifying who you are as a church. So the way we do that is we assign to everybody their own unique upload folder. So you just copy this like that, and you just paste it in there. That's it. So basically now you are in that folder. Okay, so you have to be logged into the FTP server, which we saw, and then you have to be in that folder. Once you are in that folder, you can start just dropping files in there. So I have this MP3 file. It's rather small. That way we can run through this test quickly. And let's just see what happens when we just drag and drop this into this folder. See? Simple. And there it goes. It's uploading. And there it is. There's our sermon that we just uploaded. But it says Untitled Sermon, and there's no speaker. So we're going to show you how to do this properly. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to show you how to apply the proper tags, and that's what they're called. They're called MP3 ID3 tags to the file itself, so that things like the title and the speaker will automatically be populated, and once our system feels like it has enough information, it will actually automatically publish it as well. Now, the concept of an ID3 tag has been around for a long time. All you need to do is you need to go into your menu here on the file and click on Properties. But here, for an MP3 file, you can actually give a title right here inside the file. And this could be, this is the title. Just like that. We use the artist for the speaker name. And let's hit Apply and let's hit OK. So now, embedded into the file is the title and the speaker. So now if I go ahead and drag and drop this into here, and I go back to my sermon manager, there we go. It's automatically published, title taken out of the ID3 tag, and the speaker properly applied. So let's go ahead and edit this and see what else is going on. Well, there's your audio. It processed the audio, it put the title in, put the speaker in, and all is well. And it's already published as well. If you supply a speaker name, let's just go ahead and pretend, if you supply a speaker name that does not currently exist on the system, so LEEZ, okay, that's just a fictitious name, and if I hit OK on that and I try to upload that, it will not put that name there. You have to supply the name as it appears on SermonAudio today. So what it will do is it will just say that there is no speaker assigned. And so you have to manually go in there and assign a speaker or create a new speaker. All right. What I will do now is I will show you one other little detail. And that is, what if you want to preserve the date somehow? So in this case, if I wanted this to be something like 2009, January 3rd, and I wanted to say this was actually the Sunday PM message, I can just call it that and upload this. Oh, there it is. Whew. Demonstration has been saved. So this is the newest title. And if you see here, there's our sermon series, etc. And there's our date. Look at the date. And if you click on edit, let's see if it preserved the event category. Yes, it did. Sunday PM. So just from the file itself, without having to come into this dashboard, you can specify the title, the speaker, the sermon series, the event category, the Bible reference, and the date. One more thing that I will show you and share with you. Let's say you want to upload media into a sermon that's already there. The way you do that is you have to grab the sermon ID, which is sitting right here. So this is the sermon ID for this sermon. You have to grab that sermon ID and just copy that. So I'm just copying and pasting. And you just named the file name of the file with that sermon ID. So in this particular case, I'll go ahead and name it that.mp3. It will upload that sermon into this sermon record, this sermon container, as we like to call it. It won't create a new sermon, in other words. Why is this helpful? Well, it may be helpful if you want to create your sermon record using the dashboard just like this, but you want to go ahead and upload the media via FTP because maybe you want to upload a large file like an MP4. I think we talked about this enough. What I'll show you now is the thing that we implemented this past week from Ian's suggestion or request, and that is this. So let's pretend that this is a new sermon. Let's try this. I'm typing in sermon details. This is a tech talk. There's my date. It's a podcast. I could even do the description here of this. Okay. So what we do is we go down here to the metadata summary. Again, we show the summary, and there's the summary of all that we just typed very conveniently for you. Now, why this is useful is not just as a double check to make sure before you hit publish, but you can hit copy summary like this, and then say you want to go ahead and cross-publish this to Facebook or to Twitter. Let's go ahead and do it to Facebook. And I want to just paste all of that summary right there. In the past, you would have had to go up and down, copy, paste. But now we just have a very convenient way of doing that. And if you just want the title, for example, let's just delete this. You just wanted the title, you can just click on that. If you just want the speaker name, click on that, paste that there. So you can just copy and paste various elements, or you can copy and paste the entire summary, just like that. What do you think, Ian? Is that about what you were hoping it would be?
Yeah, that's, as to say, it does our job exactly, Stephen. We had, in our simple minds, we had thought of tick boxes over in the cross-publish, but I think that's really good there because you can pick up and copy one element, or you can copy the whole summary, so that's really useful.
Right, and it doesn't clutter up this section over here either then too, right? We keep it completely separate, and it's just a lot easier to understand. Probably for the final thing, because we don't have a lot more time, is to just run through our Roku app. Just pushed out a new version today. In fact, it just went into the store maybe an hour before this call. And I just thought it might be helpful for us to see, because I was able to connect this to my video system here. And that's what it looks like, SermonAudio channel. And this is the Legacy edition for those that want the old interface. But this is the new one. So if you're looking in the Roku store, that's the one you want. So let's hit OK on that. This is our Roku app. From here, you can listen to the radio that we have. This is just a 24-hour running audio stream. You can set up My Church here. Click on that, and you type in your partial church name, like this. And you can see it populating down there. If you type in an exact member ID, just like I did, just Faith, then it will show it up as the first one. It pulls up other matches based on the name, but the very first one will be the one that matches the member ID. That's good to keep in mind. But you can also type in the church code ID. If you remember that, there's a 5-digit church code that's assigned to every broadcaster that's on the site. And if you type that in, I'll show you how that works. So let's go ahead and clear this out. So in this particular case, it's a 5-digit code, very easy to enter, and there you go. So we hit that. And we're going to go ahead and say, set my church. So this is my church. And if this church were streaming live, you would actually see that show up here as well. That's what this refresh button is for. If you want to see if the stream is now live, you hit refresh and it just checks it again. And there it is. So it will just show up right there. And so this is a very easy way for church members to be able to set up their My Church to your church and be able to tune into a live webcast. Click on that and they can watch, or they can just listen. they hit watch. That's the webcast. And from here, of course, because this is my church, you can actually see the sermons, the latest sermons from your church. If you just hit listen, it will just play the audio.
That's what they did, you know. That's what those
I'm assuming you can hear that.
reformers and
Maybe you
early
can't.
Puritans.
You can obviously watch if it's a video.
That's what they
There
did,
you
you
go.
know. That's what those reformers.
Another thing I should mention is that if you're on a sermon like this one, you can get more info, and that's fine. But you can also see more sermons. So you can see more from this speaker. You can see more from the broadcaster itself, or more from the series that it's a part of. Back out of that, and we'll keep going down this interface here. You can see a play history. So you can see a history of what you've currently been playing, and you can see the featured sermons of the day. These are audio, this is video, this is audio, 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 video, etc. So if I click on that, you can see it's fast forwarding. And those fast forward and play buttons, and they all work. And you'll see if I scroll back up, my play history shows this sermon that I just recently played. And you can clear your history. The staff picks, power clips, newest videos. These are all the newest videos that are showing up on the site. Newest sermons. If it's just audio, they'll show up here on the site. Search for broadcasters. The easiest way for people to just go ahead and start searching for a church is go to the broadcasters row, tap on search, and right here they can put in the member ID or the partial church name. They can even put in a partial speaker name. They don't maybe know the name of the church, but they know the speaker. Let's just say a preacher, Beaky, and there you have it. That's the church. So that's broadcasters. But maybe you just want to go straight to a speaker. You don't want to search by broadcasters. You want to search by speaker. You can click on that, and you can type in any speaker name. You can see all of his sermons this way as well. It's a very handy interface to browse through SermonAudio on a TV. And then, of course, we have all of our categories. So if you know that there was a sermon that was preached, let's say a funeral that was recently conducted, you can go to the funeral category, and it shows you all the latest funerals that have been uploaded to the site. You can do it by popularity, by last played, podcasts, question and answers. That's why it's important to categorize your sermons properly. It makes it a lot easier for people to find things, especially in an interface like this, where you don't have a keyboard, so you're relying on these big buttons to get you to where you need to be. Here is the live webcast since, let's see. Oh, there's a bunch of webcasts running right now. And down here at the very end is where you can search for sermons themselves. So you can actually search for a sermon. And this just searches through the almost 2 million sermons that we have, and you can browse through them down here. Any questions about the Roku? I'm actually not sure if this device or if these TVs are available in the UK. Does anybody know?
I use Amazon Fire Stick.
Oh, this Fire Stick.
Yeah, Fire Stick would be.
Okay, so they have that there. Good. The Roku has been around the longest, and it is, I think, probably one of the cheapest ways to have the smart aspect of smart TVs on your TV. They also have it built into many TVs now as well. Does anyone have anything else that they want to talk about or ask at all before we...
I have a question. I hope it hasn't been answered in the past.
Sure, it's fine.
Do you know of, or maybe somebody has a suggestion? I want to just chop the sermon portion out of it and make it simple to do, you know, without uploading the entire hour-long file to the site and then trimming it. Is there a way that, I know maybe this doesn't pertain to your site, but that Open Broadcast can make a second stream to record?
If he's streaming it, though, he can do it in the webcast manager.
Yeah, we're streaming the entire service.
Okay. If you're streaming a webcast, it would show up here in the webcast section. And if you scroll down, you can see the recent webcasts within the last 2 weeks. Yep. So if you go here, so this one here was 2 hours long. If you click on Add To, you create a new sermon from this. And from in here, you can trim.
Oh, nice.
So from within here, you can actually just trim it to the sermon section.
Yeah.
And then you hit add media and away you go.
Title it
But
for us.
the
Oh,
beauty
wonderful.
the beauty of doing this is that you're not having to upload anything. It's already on our system. And so you're just trimming it on our side.
And you're saving these for a month or two after every one of our live streams.
It's really just for 2 weeks.
Okay, that's fine. We'll do it moments after. Fair enough.
Yeah. So if you webcast with us,
Yeah.
you want to go into this section, you want to click on add to, and you want to do the trim right in here. And
Wonderful.
like I say, this does not require you to be uploading the video afterwards. It's right there.
Yeah, I love it. And I hope you guys are okay with it. Is funeral services.
Yes, yes,
Often
yes.
families can't come. I'll leave the entire
Yes.
hour.
No, that's absolutely. Funeral services and weddings, we actually assume that people will want to put the entire service on there. But for the regular Sunday services, we usually recommend, as much as you are able to comply, to put the sermon portion, maybe a little bit of the singing if you want to have a little bit of that on there. But
Yeah, no. Typically, it's just the sermon, and like I said, we've changed everything that we have in our entire thing in the last since this pandemic has happened. So
right.
But yeah.
So check that out. I'm sure that will do it for you.
In fact, I can probably go into our archive and grab the last few weeks.
That's right. That's right. Well, it was a real pleasure. I hope this was helpful. We'll go ahead and archive this and put it up there for people who may be able to benefit later on. But nice to see you all again. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop us an email and we'll do it again, perhaps.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.